Thanks, Peter. and what I'll do is I'm going to show you a video. I'm a very visual person, and this is just a background of our town of Armidale in New South Wales. We'll see how this goes.
Some of Australia's first settlers felt the cool, fresh breezes of these highlands and called the place New England.
I just find sometimes, words say so much more than I could say in that in 90 seconds. But that's Armidale, and I guess this is what the root of the scoping, I guess, of transition towns and the movement is about. I'm just going to show, hopefully. You can see both things, can't you? Can you see one screen or both screens?
Both.
Okay.
Both.
Okay, just 1 second. I'll just rectify that. No, I can't rectify that.
Does it matter?
Maybe it doesn't. I'm going to do something here. Try this.
Well done.
Thanks. So I just want to thank Mary, Kit and Peter for putting this together. It's such a great vision to include, all of Australia instead of us, our little worlds, like living in Armidale up in a valley on top of the border ranges. Our transition story started over a cup of coffee between two people. It's kind of interesting where these things kind of start from. This is before this book, which is, you can see it back to front upside down. There we go. That's the Transition Handbook, which you probably know about, Rob Hawkins. And this was in 2006. Between Brian Connor and Patsy Ash, and they had a question: how to raise awareness about peak oil and climate change and the urgent need to move to community sustainability in Armidale. That's not them, by the way. There's some other people, but you get the idea. And Brian, they said, okay, let's have some meetings in the town hall. A series of workshops on climate, housing, energy, food, etc. At the same time, UNE which is in Armidale, was organising a workshop around leadership, environmental sustainability. Rex Glencross Grant and Dr. Robert Patterson had also organised a SMART Expo, which is sustainable management of alternative resource technologies. And at the same time, a local school was running sustainable house tours. Well, they were called New England Sustainable Living Tours. And they had houses open around the area So all these things were happening at the same time. And the council wanted to kick off. The economic development officer and tourist development officer were looking for a major event to put Armidale on the map. It didn't necessarily have to be sustainability, but it happened that all these groups were happening at that time. So details were worked out, and the event coordinator was employed, Alison Buckley, who went on to work with Woodford. And she was fantastic and really dynamic. And we kicked up what would be called in transition towns as the unleashing, if you've read the book, without knowing. This happened a year before this book was published. The SLA has been running for 15 years now. Happened in 22nd of January 2007, and was the first of 4 expos launched by the mayor. And this is a photo from it. After the expo, everybody was given, who gave their email addresses for the Ideas into Action workshops was invited to a follow-up meeting, and 18 people attended, plus Ken Waters from council. And one outcome was to investigate transition towns as a possible model. And in 2009, SLA decided to become incorporated. There's a lot of history. I'm just pushing through here, people. And we got together a constitution, and we had an inaugural general meeting that year. And in incorporation, we became legally known as Sustainable Living Armidale Incorporated. And that is me actually in the back there. So this is almost the end of my story here. SLA became, it started back then in sort of 2007. It became incorporated in 2009. It kind of reached a pinnacle. I'm not going to talk about what we've done over the years. It's an amazing, a lot of work because there's a lot of people involved. But it kind of reached a pinnacle in 2015. And then the honeymoon period was kind of over after that. And then we've been having declining energy. And that was around COP21 back in Paris, was pretty much the top. And then other groups, and Annette is here at this meeting, and she was involved in this Climate Action Armidale. It's interesting that other groups came to the fore that weren't Sustainable Living Armidale, doing similar things, but getting traction. And this was around the climate emergency. And that was successful. And we signed up to the climate emergency, the local regional council. And then from that, which we never got up and going in the first place, but it's part of the transition model, was to always come up with a framework for transition. And we just never got that happening as Sustainable Living Armidale. But it was interesting that another group with new energy came in and kind of came together, and Annette was one of the chairs, and with Mihaela Halperin, and the authors were Helen Webb and Mihaela. And this got through in 2020, which is fantastic. And yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. It's interesting that there's this success. It's interesting how our transition model sort of became what I would call a kind of institution, and it sort of lost something about it. It became more of a framework than sort of an action thing. I mean, we still do lots of stuff, but we've sort of gone off the ball, and the interest hasn't been maintained. But that's what I wanted to share here, and thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, Ian. We'll do deaf people clapping, which is works on a screen.